Hello, Twins fans, and welcome back to another episode of From Lee to Limestone. I'm Matt Lenz with Twins Daily, and today I want to look at the struggling veterans on our team and make a case for the fact that we should be promoting some of our youth that are doing very well in the minors. And so let's first start by looking at the veterans on the active roster who have kind of been struggling for most of this season. And both of them that I'm going to focus on today, at least, are utility infielders, obviously Kyle Farmer and even Willie Castro. Now, let's start with Farmer because he was brought in to actually have a pretty significant role on this team. He was brought in prior to Correa, so he was going to be, at least until he found a more permanent solution like Correa, he was going to be the shortstop, and he was going to be somebody that excelled against left-handed pitching. And for a lineup that has so many left-handed bats in it, he was going to be that right-handed bat that could hopefully slot in top half-ish of the lineup and again make an impact against left-handed pitching. Well, here we are midway through August. He hasn't been needed at shortstop at all because of Correa, and he actually has a worse OPS against left-handed pitching than he does against right-handed pitching at this point. And so he's been brought in for two reasons, and neither of those reasons have worked out for the Twins, yet he continues to take an active roster spot from guys who really deserve to get a chance at the big leagues. Overall, he has a 662 OPS, which is pretty terrible, and an 85 WRC plus with a K rate that's 4.5 points higher than his career. Now, I'm part of the belief that that's more of a Twins philosophy, and so he's adjusted his way to match that philosophy. But regardless, he's not producing, and he's taking a spot from somebody else. We'll get to that in a second. The next name, again, obviously Willie Castro. Now, I would say that he's actually outperforming whatever we would have expected out of him. That said, it's still not something where I think he should be getting major league at-bats over somebody who deserves the opportunity to make their debut. So he was brought in as a minor league free agent. He came and was invited to camp, had a good camp, made the 40-man in the active roster. And again, he's performed well compared to what we expected of him, but not to the point where I think he should be taking at bats from anybody. It still is a sub-average hitter overall, according to his WRC plus. And so I think there are some names in the minors, two in particular, that could fill both of these roles that these players, again, both these guys are kind of utility infielders. And these two names down in St. Paul both have the same, if not more, versatility of basically being able to play anywhere. The first one is Austin Martin. Now, he was who we got, of course, in the Jose Barrios trade, along with Simeon Woods Richardson. Entering this year, it was really up in the air on the impact that either of those two would have had. But since he's come back from injury, he had a little bit of a slow start. Other than that, Austin Martin has been completely lighting it up in AAA with a 773 OPS, just a 16% K rate and a 14% walk rate. So almost matching his strikeouts and walks 1-to-1. Now, he's not on the 40-man, but again, both Willie Castro and Kyle Farmer are, so you DFA one of those to make room for him, and we have no issues there. The second name, I actually like a little bit more to give a chance. Austin Martin, he has the draft capital, he has the trade capital to obviously be added to the 40-man roster this offseason, which he'll need to do in order to not get taken from in the Rule 5 draft. He's a no-brainer. He's going to get added based off the capital that he cost for not only the Twins, but even when he was drafted. But Anthony Prado, who's just a super utility, infield, outfield, can pretty much do anything except for pitch and catch. Although if you gave him the ball on the mound, I'm sure he could do that too. If you told him to put on some catcher's gear, I'm sure he would do that as well. But he's a much lesser known name. He's not even really on any top 30 organizational lists, whether you look at Fangraphs, MLB, Baseball Perspectives, whatever it is. He's nowhere to be found, but he's hit at every single level. Oddly enough, he struggled this year to start in Double AA, got a promotion based out of necessity, and has just been lighting it up in AAA. He has a 1.059 OPS with a 20% strikeout rate, so a little bit higher than Austin Martin, but a 19.7% walk rate. So he is still right around that 1-to-1 mark that Austin Martin is also close to, and he walks more than Martin has. Again, he can play everywhere around the diamond, and he would also need to be added, but he's going to have to be added or traded to the 40-man roster this offseason anyway. Otherwise, the Twins are going to lose him. I'm shocked that they did not lose him last year because, again, he's produced at every level as just kind of an unknown prospect. So he's the guy I would like to see just because the sample's bigger. He's been doing it for years, and there's maybe just a little bit more unknown because the prospect capital, the draft capital, all that stuff isn't there. He was a 7th-round pick, so he wasn't a top 5 pick. And again, he's just not on any prospect list. So he would be one that I would love to see over the last month of the season get an opportunity to show the Twins what he has. Some other names, Brooks Lee obviously is somebody who's in AAA now doing pretty well. That's not a name I want to see in 2022. It's just too much, too quick. Kind of back to what Doug Minkiewicz said about Byron Buxton coming up through Fort Myers is I want to see Brooks Lee have to make adjustments at AAA and show that he can make those adjustments. So really no interest. I don't even think that's in the plans for the Twins either. No interest in seeing Brooks Lee in Minneapolis this year. Of course, Castro or Farmer are probably going to be the ones cut when one or more of Royce Lewis, Alex Kirilloff, Jose Miranda, Nick Gordon, if one or more of them become healthy, we're going to have to make room, and that's might be what they're just biding their time with, is just waiting for, especially Royce Lewis should be ready any day. We might send down or DFA a pitcher instead, but we'll see there. But there's young guys in the wings that can easily take these Farmer and Castro at bats. And then the last one that everybody knows, that everybody would probably agree with, DFA Gallo, bring up Trevor Larnach. And that's it. I think we need to shift to the youth movement. We're in a pretty good spot to win the division. We're in a pretty good spot to make the playoffs. I want to see what these young guys can do. I don't foresee us making a run in the postseason based off the lack of moves at the trade deadline. So let's bring up the youth movement for a playoff push. Let's see how they perform under pressure. And that's going to help us make some decisions this offseason. How would you like to see the Twins kind of approach the last month and a half of the season? Do you want to see the young guys? Do you want to let them develop in AAA? Where are you at? Let me know in the comments. Let me know on Twitter at Lenzy2108. And let me know on YouTube, Musings from Twins Territory.